Okay, let's dive into this incredible story. It's about how the New York Giants, in just 1 week, went from celebrating what they thought was a great hire to realizing they were just a few hours away from a total catastrophe. This is a wild tale of timing, high-stakes strategy, and a massive bullet dodged in the crazy world of NFL coaching.
So this is the big question, right? Could the Buffalo Bills have really swooped in and stolen the Giants' new coach? The answer to that is what makes this whole story so fascinating, and it shows how one totally unexpected event almost blew up the Giants' entire plan. It makes their quick moves look, well, brilliant in hindsight.
So Monday morning rolls around, and boom, the Bills fire their head coach. Now this move sent shockwaves through the league. But for the Giants, who had just locked in their new coach, this news was a lightning bolt. It showed them just how razor-thin their margin of error really was.
And here's why it was such a big deal. Just look at the comparison. On one side, you've got the Giants. Yeah, a historic brand for sure, but they're in the middle of a massive top-to-bottom rebuild. Then you have the Bills, a team that is playoff-ready, a Super Bowl contender built to win right now. For any top coach out there, let's be honest, the choice between a long-term project and a shot at a ring is, well, it's usually a no-brainer.
Okay, so the Giants knew a situation just like this, a dream job opening up, could happen at any second. So what did they do? They didn't just sit on their hands. No, they went on the attack to make sure they got their #1 guy.
Look, this was not your standard, let's interview a bunch of guys process. John Harbaugh was the big fish, the best coach available, and the Giants ownership knew it. So they put together this super focused, super aggressive plan with one and only one goal: sign him before anyone else even got a chance to make their pitch.
Their strategy was actually pretty simple, but man, was it effective. First, get in the door before anyone else. Second, make sure no other teams could even get his ear. And third, close the deal fast. It just shows a really proactive mindset, you know? They weren't reacting, they were controlling the entire situation right from the get-go.
But, getting a guy like Harbaugh in the room is one thing. Getting him to actually sign on the dotted line, that's a whole other ballgame. And to do it, the Giants had to make a huge, franchise-altering decision that really put their commitment to the test.
And here it is. This was the sticking point. Harbaugh didn't just want a nice contract and a big office. Nope. He wanted the keys to the entire kingdom. He wanted the power to completely reshape the organization, from top to bottom. That's a massive demand, the kind that could have easily blown up the whole deal right then and there.
And what did the Giants do? They gave in. In a move that signaled a major shift in how they do things, the ownership said yes. They understood that this was the price you pay for a coach of this caliber. They weren't just hiring a coach, they were buying into a whole new philosophy, and they were willing to pay for it with power.
You can just feel the tension in that, can't you? Now imagine if the Giants had balked at that demand. What if they had debated it for another day, just dragging those negotiations into Sunday? The entire story would be completely different, all because of what was about to happen that Monday.
And this is where the story gets almost unbelievable. Because now we can look at two totally different timelines. What actually happened and what was so close to happening instead.
I mean, just look at this. A delay of a little over 24 hours would have changed absolutely everything. If they'd waited, John Harbaugh isn't the Giants' new coach on Monday. He's a free agent, watching this brand new, far more attractive job open up. The Giants would have gone from having their guy to being in a bidding war against the Super Bowl favorite. It really is surreal. This shows you just how thin the line between success and failure was here. We're not talking about weeks or even days. This all came down to a matter of hours. That aggressive push and that quick, gutsy decision were the only things that stopped a potential disaster. So what's the big takeaway here? What does all this mean? Well, this whole story is about so much more than just one successful hire. It's a signal that something has fundamentally changed inside the Giants organization.
When you boil it all down, this wasn't about luck. Not at all. It was a masterclass in competence and seriousness. The ownership took charge, they acted with urgency, and they showed everyone that they are dead serious about winning again. For any Giants fan out there, this has to be a huge reason for optimism. It's a pretty bold question, right? But when you think about how incredibly close they came to missing out entirely, it feels right on the money. That swift, decisive action didn't just land them a coach. It might have just saved their shot at being relevant for the next 10 years. It really makes you wonder,